Everyone, and welcome back to the Hello World Guy, and let's get started with today's final tutorial of this FPS series. Hi guys, so today we are going to do a couple of things, which is mainly just creating a pause screen and then a main menu. And I have already done the pause screen, and I just want to show you an overview. So it's really simple. Just I have added in a in order to pause, we are actually going to use the escape key. So that's the reason we don't have a pause button or anything. I basically added in a pause screen canvas and then a image for the background, which is just a black image with a slight alpha of like 80, and then we have got an image which is like this kind of red background, and then we have got a text here which is stretched and contains the pause written in bold and underlined, maybe even italic. I don't know, you can do whatever you like with this. You can have it in whatever way you want. So after doing that, what I'm going to do is essentially just go under Visual Studio, and this is my UI event script. And in here I have added an update method which checks when the escape key is pressed using get key down. And here we have got a bool called pause and a game object called the pause screen. Now we set it to false whenever we so in order to actually pause, we use the time scale variable, which when it is 1, it means that the game is running at normal speed, and if something else, it means that the game is speed is being multiplied by that. And we can just set it to 0, and that should pause the game. Just to show you, if I set it to something like 0.5, I'll just show you what that looks like. And we have got a pause screen here, which we set active when we unpause. We set it active to be false, and we set the pause variable to be false as well. If the game is not paused, then we actually pause it by setting the time scale to 0 and the pause screen to be active, and then the pause variable to be true. Now if I go under Unity and hit play, then actually this pause screen shouldn't be initially enabled. Just going to disable that. Alright, so now if I hit play, then this should work, and we should be able to move around our level normally right now. Okay, it just stopped for some reason. Sometimes that happens, you know. Sometimes you click that button twice and it registers it twice, so it kind of didn't work. But now you can see what I can do is actually hit escape, and that should okay, I haven't assigned the variable yet, so if I just assign that, this should work. So as soon as the game starts this time, hopefully everything would work out as expected. And if I go here and hit escape, you can see the game pause. If I hit escape again, then the game continues, and you can see that the game is kind of slow. The reason is that we set the time scale to be 0.5, and that's the reason that the game is so terribly slow at this point. There you can see kind of what the time scale, how the time scale affects stuff. So I'm going to set it to normal 1, and this is pretty much a complete pausing and unpausing system for our game. Let's compile, and yeah, this works. So if I just unpause and play. Alright, so this is working, and we've got a pause system in place. So now the next thing I would really like to do is actually I want to add the main menu, and the main menu is going to be really simple. So in order to do that, we are going to have another scene here. So I'm going to go under my assets, and I'm going to just go under scenes, and I'm going to right click and hit create, and I'm going to create in a new scene. Actually, you don't need to do that here. You can just hit Control N, and that should allow you to have a scene here. And I'm going to just select the basic outdoor scene from HDRP and hit create. And I'm going to call this one main menu. All right, and I'm going to save that inside of if I can find it, the scene folder. Yeah, all right, it was already selected. And okay, no, cancel. Hopefully, alright, that was kind of weird. Go under create, and then try to create a scene from here maybe. Okay, I'm just going to do that and call it a main menu. I don't know what happened really, why it said that, but anyways, just create the main menu scene and open that up, and you can see this is basically an empty scene with a directional light and a main camera. We don't even need the directional light, the main camera can stay. And right click here and add in a UI canvas, just a canvas right now. And you can see we have got this here, and this looks pretty good. So I'm going to right click on this canvas as well, and then I'm going to add in an image here called background. Then I'm going to select this image, stretch it, and this is going to be our background, and we can make it like off-white for now, grayish or maybe orangish color, orangish, maybe something like a more greenish color. You can set this to whatever you like. I'm just going to have this orange color, a little darker maybe, that look like wood. So I'm just going to leave it as an orangish kind of color. So yeah, that's pretty good, and now we can move on. Alright, just moving on here, I have actually added all the buttons and title to my screen here. I have just excluded that from the actual tutorial because it would just waste time. It's not really something productive, so I'm not adding that for now. So this is pretty awesome, and I am going to go and just select my title maybe, and then just make it a little bit I'm going to change it to something like a reddish color. Not really, that doesn't look that good. And dark, I'm actually going to make it black. Maybe white is alright. You can style it as you want. I'm going to make it bold and underlined, not underlined. Alright, so this is pretty awesome, and now we should be able to just play our game. And in order to actually do that, I have gone under my UI event script, and first of all I have defined editor symbol here. And the reason we are defining that is because for quitting the game we actually have a separate method for when we are in the editor and when we are in the built application. So if I go here and we are going to say hashtag if editor, so if it's an editor, then we use the editor command, or unity editor editor application that is playing is equal to false, which actually sets the application to non-playing if it's in the editor. And if it's not defined, which means that we are doing it for the built game, and for that we use application.quit method, and we can actually comment this line out when we are building. That I'm going to let it stay for now. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. It's not really something that difficult, and I have added a function here for start game. By the way, both of these are public, which does scene manager dot load scene game. Now I have just used those two functions in here, so UI events dot start game and UI events dot quit, and this works. So if I just hit play, then I can hit play. That should load up. Oh, by the way, your scene might not load up. Actually, it will not. So in order to make sure that your scene loads up, go under build settings and make sure that both of these scenes are added. If it's not, then just drag it inside. Okay. Now once you have added both of these scenes, then this should actually work. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. And now we can add something more. There's only one more thing that I actually want to add before I end this tutorial. So let's actually do that quick. Now all you need to add this. So what I actually need to add is kind of this, a bar, a health bar on top of the enemy. Now this is kind of the thing that I want. And in order to do that, what I have done is created a canvas in the scene view, and actually you can do it in here as well. So this is basically like a canvas, which instead of having the render mode as this default, we have got the render mode as world space, and we have got a width of 5, a position of y at something like a little higher, like 1.5, so it's displayed on top of the enemy's head. And then we have got given it a size width of 5 and a height of 1, and then no other position variables. And I have changed its scale to be something lower. I have actually changed its scale to be negative on the x. Actually the scale should be 1, I think. And I'm going to actually decrease this to be 2.5 and 0.5. Alright, so that works, and we can make it a little down. Alright, so you can see I have added this now. And what this actually does is it's a canvas that exists in the world. So how I've done is to program the behavior is just have a reference to the actual object and the actual game object, that is this and the canvas, and to the image of the field object. We just set it according to the normal rules that we use to actually set the health in the player, and that works. And for the fill amount just normally, and I have added an on damage function which set the enemy health to be active on the first, and we have got we set it active to be set it to be not active in the start. So the object is active as soon as the enemy gets his first hit, which is pretty nice. All of that is working. So now of course one more thing I have done is registered the on damage function in this on damageable script here. Now if I hit play at this point, what you should see is that everything is working. So if I as soon as the game starts, you can see that the enemy is kind of should appear from here, and as soon as he appears, he's just a normal enemy, nothing too special about him. But what I can do is shoot him, and as soon as I do this for the first time, you can see that the enemy turns has got a health bar on top of him, and I can shoot him even more, and you can see that the health decreases and he eventually dies. Yeah, so that's pretty much working, and that's pretty awesome. So yeah, we've got a working damage and health system, and we can even see the enemy's health now, which is awesome, I guess. And yeah, that's pretty cool. But there is only one more thing that I would actually like to fix, and that is that the enemy health bar is not actually facing towards us all the time. The enemy is facing towards us all the time, so that it seems like that it is, but when the enemy is not facing towards the player, then we kind of do not see the health bar properly. So we want the health bar to always look at the camera. So how can we accomplish that? So doing that is really simple. We can just take our enemy health object and we can say dot and transform dot rotation, and make sure you use rotation, not local rotation, because we are doing the actual rotation relative to the world space. And we are going to set it to quaternion dot look rotation, which actually you need to give it a vector which is going to be the forward. So this is going to be the direction to look in. So in order to do that, I'm going to say transform dot rotation position minus player dot transform dot position, which if you remember from the vector math, that this should give us the direction of the player along with the actual distance, but we don't need that, so you could normalize it if you want, but I'm not going to do that. It really doesn't matter. The loop rotation function will not break or something, so this should all work. If I hit play at this point, then even if we are above the enemies, we should still be able to see the health bar properly. So if I play, and you can see currently there is nothing in our scene, and as soon as the game starts, the first enemy spawned, you can see that if I shoot him, then I can jump up and I can do whatever I like, but the actual the health bar is actually always facing me and it never changes. And no matter where I go, and even if I jump up or down, or I go down here, then even then the health bar is okay. If I go up, the enemy should appear here, and you can see if I go down, the health bar is still there and working perfectly. So yeah, that works. It's not actually working perfectly. That's because we actually changed it to be -1 when we were not rotating it towards the player, but when we are now, it doesn't really matter. It should be +1. So now, as soon as the game, as the first enemy spawns, you should see that it works. Oh, come on. Uh, all right. So you can see that enemy is appearing, and you can see that it's working. I can jump up, and the health bar is still facing me. So yeah. So now we have got a pretty much complete game. There is one thing that is missing that I would love to add, but I am actually not going to add this to this series. Maybe I will make a separate tutorial later. So what I actually wanted to do was have a way of scoring the highest score of the every player, and then saving it in a file and all of that. I have not done that right now and in this series, but if you actually want a tutorial on just saving stuff in general, then I'll be happy to make one in the next video, before we start our next series in which we are going to make the 2D platformer. So yeah, this is pretty much it for this video and this series, and I will see you in the next video in the next series in which we will start the 2D platformer. But before that, I might make another tutorial about saving stuff, just a small tutorial. So yeah, I will see you in the next video, and bye.